Have you ever wondered how a humble boy from a log cabin in Kentucky could grow up to become one of the most influential figures in American history? Let's take a journey back to the early 19th century, to the birth of a child who would one day shape the destiny of a nation. Born on a cold winter day in February 1809 in a one-room log cabin in the backwoods of Kentucky, Abraham Lincoln's beginnings were as humble as they come. His parents, Thomas and Nancy Lincoln, were hard-working farmers, eking out a simple living from the land. Young Lincoln's early life was far from easy, marked by hardship and loss. When he was just 9 years old, his mother passed away, leaving a profound impact on him. Yet it was in these trying circumstances that the seeds of Lincoln's character were sown. He was a boy of immense curiosity with a voracious appetite for learning. Despite the scant resources at his disposal, Lincoln taught himself, reading whatever books he could lay his hands on. From Aesop's fables to the Bible, he devoured them all, developing a deep love for literature and a profound understanding of human nature. In his teenage years, the Lincoln family moved to Indiana, a journey that instilled in him a sense of adventure and resilience. He took on his first job as a ferryman, navigating the waters of the Ohio River. This was a critical period in Lincoln's life, as it was here that he first witnessed the harsh realities of slavery, an experience that deeply moved him and sparked his lifelong commitment to justice and equality. Lincoln's humble beginnings, his self-education, and his early experiences shaped the man he would become. They instilled in him a strong sense of empathy, a deep-seated desire for fairness, and an unyielding belief in the power of education. These foundational elements formed the bedrock of his character and laid the groundwork for his future achievements. From these humble beginnings, a young man with a thirst for knowledge and a strong sense of justice began his journey towards greatness. The journey was long and arduous, but it was one that would ultimately change the course of American history. As Abraham Lincoln moved to Illinois, so did his political consciousness awaken. This new chapter of his life began in the year 1830, when Lincoln was just 21. He moved to Illinois with his family, seeking a fresh start in the land of opportunity. But the young Lincoln was not content with simply tilling the soil. He had his sights set on something greater. He found work as a shopkeeper, a humble job that nonetheless gave him an invaluable insight into the lives of the common folk. He listened to their stories, their struggles, their dreams. He shared their joys and sorrows, and in the process became an integral part of their community. It was this deep connection with the people that would later become the cornerstone of his political career. But the road to success was not a smooth one. Determined to make a difference, Lincoln decided to enter the political arena. His first campaign for the Illinois state legislature was a failure. But did he let this setback deter him? No, Lincoln was not a man to be easily defeated. He took this failure not as a sign to give up, but as a challenge to work harder, to strive for better. And strive he did. He threw himself into his studies, teaching himself law and mastering the art of debate. He honed his skills, sharpened his mind, and prepared himself for the battles to come. His second campaign was another failure, and so was the third. But with each defeat, his determination only grew stronger. Lincoln knew that success was not a destination, but a journey. He understood that each failure was a stepping stone towards his goal, a lesson to be learned, a challenge to be overcome. He embraced these failures, used them as fuel to drive his ambition, to ignite his resolve. And so, despite the odds, despite the setbacks, Lincoln persevered. He kept his eyes on the prize, never wavering in his determination to serve his people, to make a difference in their lives. And in doing so, he laid the foundation for his political ascent. In the face of repeated failures, Lincoln's resolve only grew stronger, setting the stage for his political ascent. Now imagine a country divided on the brink of civil war, and a man determined to hold it together. Picture Abraham Lincoln, a self-made man from humble beginnings, now stepping onto the national stage. His journey was marked by steadfast resolve and an unwavering belief in the Union. The year was 1860. The United States was a nation split down the middle. The issue of slavery was the wedge driving deeper and deeper divisions between the North and South. Lincoln, though a relatively unknown figure in national politics, had a clear stance. He was against the expansion of slavery, a position that stirred the pot, making him a contentious figure, yet ultimately winning him the Republican nomination for the presidency. The election was no smooth sailing. It was a four-way race, tense and fraught with uncertainty. But Lincoln, with his eloquence and conviction, managed to secure the presidency. His victory, however, was met with immediate backlash. Southern states, seeing his stance on slavery as a direct threat, began to secede from the Union. The nation teetered on the edge of a precipice, with civil war looming ominously on the horizon. Yet, despite the brewing storm, Lincoln remained steadfast. He believed in the Union, in the idea that these United States were meant to remain united. He believed in the promise of equality and liberty for all, a promise enshrined in the Declaration of Independence. He was determined to preserve the Union, even if it meant leading the nation through its darkest hour. And so, he stepped into the presidency, not with the jubilation that often accompanies such a victory, but with the sobering reality of the task ahead. He was stepping into a nation divided, a nation on the brink of war. But Lincoln was not one to shy away from challenges. He was ready to face them head-on. With the weight of a divided nation on his shoulders, President Lincoln was about to face his greatest challenge. This was the road to presidency for Abraham Lincoln, a journey marked by resilience, determination, and an unwavering belief in the promise of a united nation. The Civil War, a defining moment in American history, and at its helm, President Abraham Lincoln. Picture a nation divided, brother against brother, North against South, in a bitter struggle that would determine the future of the United States. The Civil War was not just a clash of armies, but a test of principles and ideals. It was a fight to determine whether a nation conceived in liberty could endure. In the midst of this turmoil, Abraham Lincoln stood as a beacon of hope. With determination etched on his face and the weight of a nation on his shoulders, Lincoln navigated through the storm of conflict with unwavering resolve. He was not just a leader of a nation, he was a beacon of hope, a symbol of endurance. But Lincoln's leadership was not limited to the battlefield. Away from the thunder of cannons and the clash of steel, he made a decision that would echo through the ages, the Emancipation Proclamation. This was not just an act of war, it was a declaration of freedom, a promise of a better future. In September of 1862, Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, declaring that all slaves in Confederate-held territory were to be set free. This was a courageous act, a bold move that turned the tide of the war. The focus of the conflict shifted from preserving the Union to ending slavery, a cause worth fighting for. The Emancipation Proclamation was more than a piece of paper. It was a beacon of hope for millions of men, women, and children bound in the chains of slavery. It was a promise of freedom, a declaration that all men are created equal, regardless of the color of their skin. With a single proclamation, Lincoln had not only freed the slaves, but also changed the course of the war and American history. Lincoln's legacy is not just that of a leader, but of a liberator, a man who dared to change the world, a man whose vision of equality and freedom continues to inspire us today. In the midst of war, Lincoln delivered a speech that would echo through the ages. The Gettysburg Address, a mere 2 minutes long, was delivered on a chilly November day in 1863. Yet those 2 minutes held within them a promise of a new dawn, a hope for a nation torn apart by civil strife. This wasn't just another speech, it was a powerful articulation of American values, an affirmation of the principles of freedom and equality. Lincoln spoke of a nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. A nation that he dreamed would experience a new birth of freedom. The Gettysburg Address, though short, was the embodiment of Lincoln's vision, a vision of a united America, an America where every individual, regardless of their color, creed, or origin, had the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And so the people, moved by his words and inspired by his vision, re-elected him for a second term. Lincoln, once a humble lawyer from Illinois, was now the leader of a nation undergoing a profound transformation. Yet, he remained a man of the people. He listened, he empathized. He led not with an iron fist, but with an open heart. His second term was marked by a relentless pursuit of his vision. He strove to bring about the unity he had spoken of in Gettysburg, to heal the wounds of a nation divided. But Lincoln's journey wasn't easy. He faced opposition, criticism, and betrayal. Yet he stood resolute, driven by a belief in a better tomorrow. A tomorrow where the echoes of the Gettysburg Address would resonate in the hearts of every American. Abraham Lincoln, a man of the people, had given voice to a new vision of America. The life of Abraham Lincoln, full of triumphs and tribulations, was cut short by a tragic act. On the evening of April 14, 1865, only days after the end of the Civil War, Lincoln was assassinated while attending a play at Ford's Theatre in Washington, D.C. The man behind this heinous act was John Wilkes Booth, a Confederate sympathizer. Lincoln's sudden and violent death sent shockwaves across the nation. The nation mourned deeply. The loss was personal and profound. The man who had led them through the most divisive period in their history and abolished the institution of slavery was gone. His funeral procession, from Washington, D.C. to his final resting place in Springfield, Illinois, traversed over 1,600 miles, touching the hearts of millions along the way. Yet, the story of Abraham Lincoln doesn't end with his death. Far from it. His legacy lived on, continuing to shape the course of American history. His Emancipation Proclamation, a landmark achievement, was a critical step towards the complete abolition of slavery, culminating in the 13th Amendment. His vision of a united America, free of division and strife, continues to inspire to this day. Lincoln's leadership during the Civil War, his commitment to democracy, his eloquence, and his embodiment of the American dream have made him one of the most revered figures in American history. His words, whether from the Gettysburg Address or his second inaugural speech, still echo in our ears, reminding us of the ideals he stood for. The life of Abraham Lincoln is a testament to the power of perseverance, of commitment to one's values, and of the pursuit of a just cause. His story is a beacon of hope, a reminder that no matter how difficult the circumstances, individuals can make a difference. Though his life was tragically cut short, Abraham Lincoln's legacy continues to inspire millions to this day. His life, his struggles, and his triumphs serve as a timeless reminder of what one man's determination can achieve. From a humble log cabin in Kentucky to the White House, Abraham Lincoln's journey is a testament to the power of determination and belief. This was a man who, forged by the fires of hardship and adversity, rose to become a beacon of hope in a nation divided. He contended with personal tragedies and political setbacks, yet he never wavered in his quest for justice and equality. Abraham Lincoln transformed the American political landscape, issuing the Emancipation Proclamation, a historic step towards abolishing slavery, and delivering the Gettysburg Address, a speech that would echo through the ages. His presidency, marked by civil war and conflict, was a crucible in which the future of the United States was shaped. Abraham Lincoln, a man born into poverty with self-acquired education, transformed a nation and left an indelible mark on history. His life, a testament to the power of determination, resilience, and belief, continues to inspire us all.